Hi, my name is AJ Newth and I'm a graduate student at Quinnipiac University. My absolute favorite thing in the world is travel, and to say I'm well-traveled is an understatement. At 21, I've traveled to 25 countries and seen some of the most magical places, but nothing compares to Tanzania, Africa, not even close. This study abroad program immediately caught my attention because sustainability is such an important and growing topic in all of my classes. I saw very quickly that this course and its teachings could be applied to any major, and that diversity is another reason I was drawn to it. Our trip started in Arusha after a long but worthwhile flight, where we learned about Tanzanite, made friends with locals, did city tours, and even visited the site of the Rwanda genocide trials. We learned so much about the rich history of the land and the people, and we had just scratched the surface on the beautiful culture of the Tanzanian people. One of the first things I noticed was how overwhelmingly nice everyone was, and as an avid traveler, one of my first concerns is always safety and how I will be perceived by locals as a foreigner. I'm not exaggerating when I say I felt safer in Tanzania than I do on the streets of New York City. Everyone was so curious, just wanting to learn more about us, and vice versa. The best day in the city was easily the day we spent with Tawiri Conservation. It was a day spent learning about research, conservation, animal movement, entomology, and touring the facilities, even seeing the bees and other animals they help keep safe. Being able to learn from experts in this field and see firsthand the efforts they make toward keeping Tanzanian wildlife safe was so enriching.
I think it's really important to be able to discover other cultures, especially ones that you're not familiar with. And I think when it comes to people that want to come to Africa to see the animals and see the wildlife for what they're known for, I think it's the most important thing to understand what conservation is and go to an institution like Tawiri where you can learn about how they go through the conservation efforts and tracking the animals and making sure that you can experience the wildlife that you desire to come here for.
After Arusha, we headed to Karatu, where we stayed in a beautiful accommodation and we explored Tarangire National Park. This was the beginning of an amazing leg of our trip, filled with scenery, close-ups to the most majestic wild animals, and evenings spent talking about sustainable development goals and how we can contribute to keeping Tanzania beautiful. We saw the sights of Ngorongoro National Park, and on our way to the Serengeti, we stopped at a Maasai village to meet the people and learn from their culture. This was my favorite part of the trip. It really altered the way that I see the world, and being able to learn from the Maasai people was a privilege. The change of perspective is something that I will carry with me for the rest of my life, and I think that others on the trip with me would definitely agree. Finally, we made it to the Singing Grass Bush Camp in the Serengeti. It's a luxury accommodation equipped with gorgeous tents, delicious food, and attentive, friendly staff. There's nothing that really compares to falling asleep to the sound of the wildlife. To say it changed me is an understatement. The nights we spent at Bush Camp were among the best of the trip. Time spent growing closer to nature and to one another over conversations regarding wildlife, climate change, sustainable tourism, and eco-friendly accommodations while sitting around the campfire. We enjoyed talking with the staff until late in the evening about why they love Tanzania and forming connections with individuals who are so different from us, yet so alike. The friends I made in the Serengeti are better than any souvenir I could ever buy. After an amazing few days in the Serengeti, we rounded out our trip in Zanzibar, where we toured Stone Town, visited spice markets, and spent a full day with the State University of Zanzibar, learning about blue economies, women-led projects which are first in their field, and fish hatchery practices from students and professors alike. This trip is the definition of a once-in-a-lifetime experience. It's a must-have for all university students. It opens eyes to a world that we never knew existed, and the focus on sustainability is what makes this trip so fitting for students sooner rather than later. Tying together culture and conservation, this study abroad trip is an opportunity that you don't want to miss.